Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So I have a really fun one today. It's going to be Wine Tasting 101. I have been wanting to do this video on here for so long. So it's gonna be kind of a brief crash course in wine. So nothing too in-depth, just a very basic summary of the different components that go into making a bottle of your favorite wine, how to properly taste a glass of wine. Maybe you'll learn something along the way you didn't know, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly preface this video and just give a quick disclaimer and say that I'm not by any means an expert. I'm not a master of wine. I'm just someone that absolutely adores wine. Ever since I had it in Italy back in college when I studied there, I was in the Tuscany region of Italy, and I just loved it. And ever since I, a few years back, decided to actually study it seriously. I've always loved food and wine, and so I just took a course in wine, kind of entry level, and you take a full test. You study everything about geography and language and what goes into making wine. So I'm sharing what I know with you guys. Part of why I wanted to start doing wine on my channel is to kind of debunk the stigma around wine, that it's super bougie, really expensive, kind of like you have to have a lot of money to drink it or do anything with it or understand it. And I mean, I have an appreciation for that now, having studied wine, but by no means am I someone that thinks that wine is not accessible to everyone. Like, my purpose here is to share with you, share what I know. Maybe you can learn some things, learn some tips. It might help you figure out what you like, what you don't, maybe things that you can try that are new, you've never thought to try before, didn't know existed. And I wanted this to be just a really fun tool, essentially, because to me, wine is a total sensory experience. You're using your sight, your smell, your taste, kind of like when you're eating a really good meal. If you're a foodie like I am, it is just a wonderful, pleasurable experience, if you will. And I kind of think the same thing goes for wine, and it should be an everyday thing. I know you don't have to analyze your wine every time you drink it, because most of us are drinking it, chilling on the couch, watching Netflix, having a girls' wine night, going out to a bar, having it with dinner, by the pool in the summertime. And so I'm just here to say that is great, and that is what most people do. All right, I think it's time for another glass. There are a few things that go into making a bottle of wine. Everything from the soil to the climate in the country and region that the grapes are grown in, the type of grape itself, the fermentation process, the aging, whether it's aged in a barrel, what type of wood the barrel is made with, whether it's even aged at all or not, whether it's got bubbles. All those things go into making a proper bottle of wine, go into what gives you the different notes and flavors in different types of wine. And so it's a bunch of stuff. That's just a very surface level, brief description of all the different components that go into your favorite glass of wine. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about just the bottle really briefly. I'll go ahead and put a cutaway just about the label of this wine. So this is a Pinot Noir from California by Beringer Founders Estate. The vintage is 2018. Pinot Noir is probably one of the lighter red wines. Its common characteristics, I would say, are maybe some mushroom, raspberries, maybe some blueberries, maybe some spices. They're typically pretty bright, acidic wines. And the acidity is the sensation you get in your mouth when you drink a glass of wine or have a sip of wine and it makes your mouth water. That would be an acidic wine. So Pinot Noirs are typically more on the acidic side, a little bit earthy, a little bit green in their flavor, and also a bit juicier, I would say. So now the fun part, we're gonna go ahead and taste our wine. A proper wine tasting, what you do is you analyze the wine. So you would typically have like a white sheet of paper or white linen tablecloth or something, and you would look at the wine and analyze the color. And you know, the color can indicate so many different things. It can be anywhere from like a brownish garnet color to a ruby red to a deep plum purple. All those things can indicate whether the wine was aged in a barrel or not, how young the vintage might be, so many different things. So what you're gonna want to do is hold it by the stem, and yes, that is important because if you're touching the glass by the bowl, your fingertips and your hands can alter the temperature of your wine, and that can potentially change the flavor. And with a red wine, since we're drinking red wine, you're going to want a bigger glass, a wider bowl, especially for super bold wines like a Bordeaux or a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Cab Franc or something like that. You're gonna want a glass with a larger bowl at the bottom, and then you're gonna go ahead and swirl your glass like this. All you have to do is just hold it by the stem, just move your wrist a little bit so that it causes that swirling motion. And what this does in the bowl of your glass is it allows the oxygen to touch your wine, which oxidizes it, releasing all those beautiful notes in the bouquet. Bouquet being the bunches of grapes that were harvested for this particular glass of wine. Once you've given it a good moment to aerate, you're gonna go ahead and smell it, take the nose of the wine. Really put your nose in there. And go ahead and take a sip. Swish it around in your mouth, let it hit your whole tongue, let it coat your palate, kind of slurp it and suck on it a little bit. Okay. And for those of you that don't know this, smelling your wine, smelling anything essentially, even tasting food, eating food, your sense of smell is such a huge factor and plays such an integral part in what you're tasting. So you have to do both. I'm just gonna taste once more for good measure. Okay, so I can definitely pick up on some mushroom, some oregano, you know, it's like some cooking spices, some oregano for sure, which is a more umami, which is a wine term for more meaty flavors. So oregano, mushroom, maybe some super tart cherries, fresh cherries. I would say maybe some nutmeg or clove spices, very warm spices. I'm also getting some maybe pomegranate and maybe cranberry. This wine is super acidic, like the instant you let it hit your palate, it completely makes your mouth water. Very much on the higher acidity side of things. It has a slight dryness, but I wouldn't call this a dry wine. All the fruit notes I'm picking up in this are very fresh fruit. And that's another thing with wine that can help determine the notes that you're tasting. So you can taste dry fruits like say a plum versus a prune. And dried fruits, we in the wine world call that more desiccated fruits versus fresh. I would actually also say that this wine has a very slight smokiness to it. It's nothing heavy, it's just a very little bit of smoke on the back end of it. But yeah, it's really good. This is something that I think would be delicious paired with a salmon or maybe a chicken dish that was like a honey glazed chicken, or I actually think this would be really good with lo mein noodles or something like that for like a good takeout wine. Because like I said, it's not dry, it's not overpowering. This is something that would not be able to stand up to a steak or a pork chop or anything like that. That's a lot more fatty. It would cut some of the fattiness, but not enough like a Cabernet Sauvignon would. But this is something good for a meatier fish, a chicken dish, maybe, you know, a grain bowl, a warm grain bowl type thing, if you know what I'm talking about. Something else I wanted to quickly kind of debunk is there are no wrong flavors and notes in wine. I know. I don't know who told you that you were wrong. I'm sorry, but I am here to tell you that you are right. There are no wrong answers when what you're picking up in your wine. Wine is such a subjective thing. You know, if you're tasting one thing and I'm not picking up on it, that's okay. You know, you don't have to have the same tasting notes as everyone else, and everyone's palate is completely different. And my goal here is to help you maybe get a little bit more knowledge and education on what do I bring for dinner. I've got invited to dinner at a friend's house and I don't know what to bring. They told me to bring a bottle of wine. Or maybe to Thanksgiving, what might be great options for wine at your Thanksgiving dinner if you're having friends and family over, or if you're going to the pool for the afternoon with the gals and you want a yummy sipping afternoon type of wine. I'm here to help with that. Hey everyone, real quick before I sign off, I wanted to let you know these wine glasses that I adore so much will be linked in the description box below. They're from Target and they're fabulous. I have, I want to say 8 of them, so a set of 2. And they also have white wine glasses. I'm very picky about my wine glasses. If you know me, you know it took me a while to find some that I really enjoy, but Crate & Barrel also has some fantastic ones, but I'm just picky about how thin the stem is. I like being able to grab onto it very easily. The lip of the glass is very, very thin too, so you're not stuck while you're sipping it. And the bowl's a really good size. And I just wanted to let you know that real quick at the end. Thanks. Well, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I had so much fun filming this. Clearly, I'm on my second glass. But if you would like to know more about wine, or if you have any videos you'd like to see, I'd be happy to make them. Go ahead and put them in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button because I put out videos every week so that you don't miss a video. And go ahead and hit that thumbs up if you liked what you saw. I'd much appreciate it. And I will see you again soon.